Hi,
Hey everybody.
everyone. I see people coming into our participant field here. My name is Megan Schaefer. I am in charge of marketing here at ArtCloud, and I am the co-host of this event where we are going to be talking all about ArtCloud websites, websites for artists in the art world specifically, and how you can make a website for yourself using our platform. If you already have a website with us, we're really happy that you're here to expand your knowledge. And yeah, we're really looking forward to talking about one of our most beloved products here at ArtCloud today, our website builder. We're very, very lucky to have our CEO, Alex West, as my co-host, and who will be taking us through the back end of our website building platform that is drag and drop and completely integrated with your inventory and your CRM, which is your contacts. And yeah, we will be sending out a recording after this. Just to introduce ArtCloud to you guys a little bit. I know, many of you, I can see your names kind of coming in here, have been a part of our universe for a little while, but ArtCloud is a art management platform, and we have we're not just an inventory management database. We also have an email campaign builder, a website builder, loads of sales and marketing tools. And it's really hard to do an elevator speech for our company because of the breadth of tools we provide to the art world. So yeah, with all of that said, I will hand it over to Alex West, our CEO and founder.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you guys for being here. I think this is we've been revamping these artist webinars, and this is the second one of the revamp, and we're excited to just do these more often and just start to dive into different parts of the product. Like Megan said, it's an expansive platform, and so we feel like there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue to educate existing users, prospects, just so that people know and make people that are taking advantage of all we have to offer. So we've done other ones on the manager, but today we're going to stay focused on the website builder. But this does assume that you have signed up for an account, you're in a trial or a paid account, and have added some inventory. Once you add inventory, you're kind of free to start building out a site. And so you'll find that the website builder is here. And when you log into this familiar homepage, you'll find that the website builder is here. And you can access all of your website pages on this pages link. You can make a new page fairly easily. You can edit your navigation. You can click on this eyeball to preview your site. So this is a preview of the site that we kind of have constructed, and we'll walk through making some edits and just kind of a couple components of how the site came together. The first thing we're going to go over are custom pages. So you'll build custom pages for any static page, dynamic page you would want on your site. So when you're kind of browsing a site like this about page would be a static page, custom page, contact would be a custom page, the shop page, the artworks page. Even though these pages are loading dynamic content, these are all done on this kind of core pages list. So for example, if we wanted to open up the about page, we can come in here. You'll find, like Megan mentioned, this is all, our whole platform is drag and drop. You'll see these compositions in the first tab of the kind of components that you can drag into the page. These are going to be a collection of different content widgets. So you can see this one's got an image with a header and some body text. And you can come in here and make any changes you might want to see. All of the components in ArtCloud, again, this is all drag and drop. As you click on them, you'll have all of your editing options from here, both in terms of typography, customization, layout, things like that. We also support columns, so you can build out, you can leverage columns to do layout options. So we will get to there. That is under the container section, so you can drag in a new column. You can pick your column count. So for example, if we wanted to do 3, as we toggle through our different columns, we can pick everything from the alignment to the flow direction. Do we want to lay out all the information in this column in a row or in a column, making it go across or down? So again, you'll just kind of get complete control over all of your layout. When you start onboarding in the site builder, you'll be able to pick a template, but from there you can customize it however you want. So it's really important to us. We know how important your brand is, how personalization on your site is. And we've worked really, really hard to invert all the controls of HTML and CSS over to you so you can make any kind of edits you want.
And
Outside of these kind
Alex,
of core, yeah,
sorry to interrupt you.
no problem.
Because we're so familiar with all of these things working for ArtCloud, will you explain to us
Yeah,
just extremely quickly HTML and CSS and why it's like what you're talking about?
yeah, for sure. So, a lot of times when you're building a site, at the end of the day, that's all going to get rendered down to some version of HTML, which is what hypertext markup language, which is the kind of the language that the internet uses for formatting and content. And so instead of having to learn HTML and CSS, which is the language for all of those formatting options and stylistic changes, we've kind of exposed all of those options for you. So, for example, if we wanted to drag this composition over, um, you don't need to know how to upload an image into HTML. You just upload that image right here, and it will be in your platform. If you want to add an animation, you don't need to know how to program animations in HTML and CSS. You just click the type of animation you want, and we'll automatically add that to it. If you want to change things like the max height of this image, again, all kind of scrolls, so you can really build these with really just your mouse. Making it as easy as possible to control all of that formatting and layout and design. Outside of compositions, we also have all the deconstructed components. So these are all the different types of elements you can drag onto a static page. So for example, the page title, you can see that would then load the title of the page. So this is demonstrating a concept called tokens, which we'll get into a little bit later. I'm going to remove that for now. We can add, pure text and a paragraph, and you can just come in here and start customizing this. This is what we wanted. And from this, you can control all sorts of things like your colors, your fonts. We have an integration with Google Fonts. So any font that you see on Google Fonts can be added to your website, and then you can select that as a font. Put all your typography settings, fonts, font weight, italics, underlines, et cetera, et cetera. Not only can you drag static information over to these custom pages, but most interestingly, you can drag over dynamic content. So what I'm going to demonstrate here is dragging over inventory. Let's say that on a page, we want to list out all of our inventory on that page. We literally just drag over the inventory block, and now all of our inventory that's been added in ArtCloud Manager is going to appear here. This is where the power of the integration really starts to shine through, because once you add your artwork to ArtCloud Manager once, it can then appear on your website. All the metadata is copied over. And like Megan mentioned earlier, as someone inquires about a particular artwork, that contact is going to be added to your CRM. Their interest is going to be logged. You'll be able to make an invoice, all those types of things. It's just going to save you a ton of time in data entry and management and understanding what works certain people are inquiring about.
And
When you
just
are, yeah,
to interject, just sorry,
no problem.
the difference between I personally have built websites on basically every major website builder, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that the difference between their the use of their product management back end of managing products and items and inventory is that we are a very specific like fine art item and jewelry and fine item design item platform. So the way in which you can feed your inventory items in here, I always want to make a note because I feel like we gloss over it sometimes. We it's made for art, and so that's why it's so valuable. And so when you make an invoice, consign a piece, you're tracking locations of your art, you're like doing everything that you need to do as an artist. That is reflected on what's happening on your website without you having to update it manually. So yeah, sorry, Alex, go ahead.
No problem, no problem. I just want to kind of go through it just to give you a sense of, I think as you browse the site builder and poke around, you'll find that it's fairly intuitive, and a lot of the kind of patterns that I'm going to walk through today apply to all the different components. But I do want to walk through a couple of the settings and configurations for the inventory widget because it's one of the more robust components we have on the site builder. The first one is once you click on the inventory list, you can quickly play around with different formatting options. So just changing your layout from a clean grid to a waterfall layout could cost you a couple $100s, if not thousands of dollars, to have a developer go change that and maybe decide you don't want that. And so this gives you a sense of just how easy it is to change the formatting. You can even do, horizontal masonry slide. You can make it a slideshow, so that people can slideshow through different artwork. So just a ton of flexibility in how you lay artwork out. If you do pick something like the grid view, then there's going to be a corresponding tab in the component here, and this is going to let you make all sorts of further customization. So for example, if we wanted to add an animation into there, if we decided that we wanted a little bit more spacing between each one of these columns, we could just literally just change the number right here. And you can see now all these artworks have a lot more breathing room. If you decide that 4 columns is too many and you want to reduce that so that you can have bigger images, you literally can just pick the different columns. And so not only does this kind of invert all the controls so that you can try and experiment and see what formatting makes the most sense for your pages, it's all going to be kind of future-proofed in the sense that it's going to work great on mobile, on tablets, on desktops. You don't have to worry about any of that responsive functionality to ensure that your users are going to have a great experience. We're also doing a lot of fancy things behind the scenes to make sure that the pages load quickly and that your SEO rankings are automatically optimized. So just a ton of kind of behind the scenes horsepower to make sure that your site is as powerful and effective for you as possible. There's also some interesting things like the ability to give the user options for filtering and sorting work. And they can filter by medium. You can see that now exposed here. You can, we kind of pre-populate these mediums, where you can then change the order. You can remove some of these, add different ones. So again, complete control. We don't want you to ever feel like you're pegged into a template. You have the ability to customize virtually every aspect of the site here. Just kind of browsing the example site, I want to kind of walk through a couple of things. So you can see this is the artwork grid laid out in 2 columns. One of the most effective tools that we see on art websites is having a clear call to action or a clear inquire button for every single artwork. When we visit an art studio website or an artist website and they don't have the inquire, like a specific inquire button per artwork, our first kind of question or suggestion is just to walk through the, put yourself in the visitor's shoes. If they see a piece that they like and they can't actually inquire about that piece, they have to write down the name of it or write down the SKU of it, then go find your contact page and start formulating an email. It's an awful lot of friction to in between a visitor saying, I'm interested in more information on this, and you actually knowing who that person is and being able to collect their email and being able to then work your sales process to send them additional images, to schedule a FaceTime video with them, etc. And so having this clear inquire button is just absolutely pivotal. Even if you don't use the ArtCloud site builder, I just highly recommend, if you're using Squarespace or any other platform, just make sure that you have a clear call to action on every single inventory detail page, because that is going to, more than anything I've ever seen on any art website, that is going to have the highest impact of a return for you. We also have a lot of functionality, like the ability for people to share it on social media, to text it to themselves. You can virtually install artwork on a wall. You can change out what wall that artwork's on, save that down. So if you have someone that's kind of trying to visualize what the artwork might be in their space, or they email you that, hey, I'm looking for an artwork for this space, you can tell them, hey, go to my website. I have the virtual install functionality built in, and you can kind of prototype out what that might look like in any different spot. Now, you might notice when we've gone to this inventory detail page, this type of page is different than the other custom pages. So we're not going to require that you make a custom page for every single artwork that you have. That would just be a waste of time. And the whole point of our site builder is to save you time, make you more efficient. And so all of those kind of page templates or dynamic pages that are based off of dynamic content. So once you add a new artwork, there's going to be a new page on your website. Those are all designed and managed under our page templates section. And so you can see there's a couple different types of page templates. There's the inventory page detail, which we were just on here. So what the detail page of a specific inventory item looks like. You can also choose to show that inventory detail information in a modal instead of its own page. And so if you were to do that, you'd be editing this. If you have any exhibitions, the detail pages for those exhibitions would all be controlled here, and et cetera, et cetera. You can kind of browse these templates at your leisure and start to further customize your website. But we're going to specifically go through this inventory detail page just to give you a bit more information and perspective on how this all comes together. So the first thing when you're editing inside of a page template, you can see that there's some interesting actions up here. If you needed to change the resource, so let's say that you wanted to work off of a different artwork, that this wasn't the right artwork, you can just come over there, pick a different resource, pick a different artwork, and then all of a sudden now we're going to be working on our page template for the with a different kind of sample set of data. So if you wanted to see what a page would look like with notes, and you wanted to work on stylizing your notes, you know, you might be able to pick a particular artwork that was more indicative of that kind of content. You'll see your actions here. And again, we can just, if you don't want to have the share functionality or you don't want to have the virtual install functionality, you literally just toggle it on and off. So again, anything that you need to do can all be done in a drag and drop nature or by just editing different components. As we browse over here, we mentioned this earlier, but I want to walk through the concept of tokens. So another important aspect of, and we learned from our artists, was how important it is for you to have the ability to style all the different types of text. So if you wanted to format the typography of your artwork's medium differently than your dimensions, and differently than the price, and differently than the title, and differently than the year, you know, that is all now possible in the ArtCloud Site Builder because of tokens. And so what we're going to do is when we click on here, and you can see this is the name of the artist, the title, date, medium, dimensions, price. You can see that these are all reflective here in our token. So if we wanted to, for example, insert a new token, we could add the created date or the medium or the inventory. Let's say we want to add the SKU. Now that SKU, if this work had a SKU, it would appear right here under the notes. So this just gives you the ability to change the order, change the location of any of these. You can change the formatting if you wanted to, for example, select the price and then bold that. You can see now the price is bold. If we needed to, let's say we wanted to italicize the title, we can just come over here. You can see Tetherball is now italicized. So again, you're going to have complete control not only of the formatting of the page, but all of the typography of every tokenized bit of information for that artwork. In here, we're just going to kind of browse through some of the configuration options we have for buttons. So if the piece is if the artwork is unavailable, if it's no longer active, then you can even hide the inquire button so that your visitors won't see it. These are just some standard templates, so you can make a custom button, but this is going to let you pick the title of the button. So if you wanted to say inquire, or if you're from the UK, if you wanted to spell that with an E, or if you wanted to say reach out, or something more casual, something more formal, you can literally just have questions. Oops, let's see. Cancel that. Let me just come back in here and just say questions, and you can make any kind of edit you would want. We select that. We can then even change the formatting. It looks like the rest of them are uppercase, so we will do that to stay consistent. But again, you can just see all of your typography settings are going to be right in here. If you want to change anything about the background, you can change the background. We can apply a different border radius if we want to kind of round the edges of that button. So again, just trying to demonstrate to you guys how much you can customize these sites. So right off the bat, again, you can launch a template website in a matter of minutes, and you can customize it, almost endlessly. Megan, if we had any questions about the inventory detail page templates?
Not about the inventory detail page, but I would love to, well, I personally love to talk about the inventory detail page because I just think it's really important. And other e-commerce companies, like, the millions that we see every day, they think about this page a lot, and in terms of what buttons are on it, how things are laid out, and what information is presented. So we also recommend having more than one picture. Like we recommend having 4 to 5 pictures per artwork item with different like ways of seeing the piece. Like I answered this question about the sculpture AR, which we don't have any AR integrations at this moment, but we certainly have galleries and artists that are using GIFs and movie files, like video files, to like illustrate, like what the piece of art looks like in real life. Because you would imagine you wouldn't. Oh, and you just said, and for the virtual install, yes. You wouldn't buy something unless you actually have a good sense of what it looks like on your wall, or what it'll be in person. So that's just a little tidbit. But Alex, I'm curious about the header and the footer and the other components of the website. Where do I design that? Like, how does that work in
Yeah,
ArtCloud?
absolutely. We'll get to that page template in just a second. And one thing I wanted to echo off of what you were mentioning, uh, the inventory page detail is often the most important page of your website. If you can imagine, when we think about like kind of what makes a great art website, one is we kind of divide that answer into 2 buckets. One is you want to ensure that it is structured in a way that it's going to attract as many possible people to the site as possible. And then the other, so that's SEO, unique URLs per artwork, fast load times, responsive, and then you want to ensure that it is going to convert as many of the people that visit your site as possible to some sort of engagement metric. So did they inquire about an artwork? Did they purchase an artwork? Did they make an offer? Did they sign up for your newsletter? Any kind of conversion like that is going to be a success, because now you have their email address. Now you can send them your email marketing newsletters. You can drip on them over time and engage with them. And so the inventory detail page is often the page that is going to kind of convert that user. So if they've browsed your site, they've gone through a couple different pages, they've put enough energy to get deep down into a particular inventory detail page, this is kind of the finish line. You've got to convert them. And so experimenting with what the text of these buttons look like, or what the color of those buttons look like, and really getting dialed in. It can be intimidating to try to do things like be data driven or look at analytics. And we'll talk a little about analytics towards the end of this call. But I highly encourage you to kind of take a deep breath and realize it's not that complicated. And you just need to think about how many people came to my site and how many people actually converted to some type of engagement. And from those 2 numbers, our analytics system will calculate what your conversion rate is. And that's a percentage of how many people typically will convert over, or on your site, how many people converted to some level of engagement. And we show you industry stats, and we'll walk through that in a second. But these are the types of things, if you're trying to convert or improve your conversion rate from 1% to 2% or 2% to 4%, these types of tweaks are the types of tweaks that are going to keep people on your site longer and encourage them to engage in some capacity. So definitely worth putting the extra energy into experimentation here and just see what worked for you, your work, and your collector base. To answer your question, if you wanted to make a change to the header or the footer, so the way your logo is laid out, or the typography settings for your navigation, that is all going to be done in the header page template. So again, on our page templates page, we're going to open up our header, and we will see what you would expect to see, your logo and the navigation. And from here, we can do all sorts of things. Like, let's say we wanted to make the text lowercase. We can change that. If we want to change the font size, maybe make that a little bigger, like 35. Again, these are all, change the letter spacing. This is all easy to do, all drag and drop. You can add other components into here if we wanted to put a sign up button for your newsletter, if we want to put social media icons in here, any kind of text or custom code if you have tracking issues that you're trying, or custom kind of tracking code that you're trying to embed on different parts of your site. Your logo, we can change things like the heights. If we wanted to make this bigger, we can literally, again, just drag and drop. If we want to change the alignment, this is all, again, available for you to do just by clicking your mouse and changing these configuration options. Uh, let's see. So page templates, design. Another kind of critical aspect of a site, and I think one that separates a site that looks good and one that just looks unprofessional, is the consistency of the typography throughout the site. So, some people stick to the rule of just two fonts, a header font and a body font, and maybe two customizations of each of those in terms of font size and kerning, etc. But we found as long as you're consistent with kind of three or four or less, then the site's going to feel unified. It's going to feel put together. It's going to feel like you paid attention to those details. Unfortunately, as you start to experiment or change your mind about what font you want to use, a lot of site builders are really hard to stay consistent. You have to go to every single page and check your font family and size and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so it discourages people from experimentation and continuous tweaks, which I think are so important on a website to be able to kind of think about it as a biological creature. Like, it is alive, and as your work evolves, your site should evolve, and you should always kind of be tweaking it. We created the style guide so that it's really easy for you to make changes in one spot and then have those apply throughout the entire website. So I'll walk through some aspects of that here. So one, you can upload your logo, and that will then appear on the site. If you change out your logo, just upload it here, and it will update on all of your pages. Earlier, I mentioned we had a integration with Google Fonts. You can just, if you wanted to add a new font to your website, just come search for it. This is going to have all the thousand, I think I forgot how many, it looks like 1,700 different fonts inside of Google. You can add those fonts directly into your website. Again, all different kind of color options. So what do you want the nav background to be? What do you want your body background to be? And you can make one change here. Say we wanted to make this a little bit darker. We can come over here, refresh, and now all of a sudden our website has inherited that color. But what I was referring to a second ago about that kind of consistency in typography is all done under our style guide. So this global style sheet is going to give you the option to customize up to 7 different typography settings that can then be assigned to different components throughout your site. So if we wanted to, for example, change the body style, we can come in here, we can select this text, and if we wanted to italicize our body text, and if we wanted to change the font to something that just will make it obvious that it's different, then we can come back over here and go to a page. And let me actually go set that page's text to a body. So as long as you configure all of your text to be this body style, then that will, let me just clear some formatting here. Then that is going to affect that. So you can see here, we have this kind of somewhat ugly font. It's not so bad. But if we were to go, for example, come back to our design guide, let's say that we decided that this text was just too close together. We need to space the lines out a little bit for legibility. We can just come into here and select our line height, and maybe we want to make it 24 pixels. We'll apply that. And then you can see now there. And so any page that had the text configured as body font will then inherit that change. So again, it's just going to help you keep your typography consistent throughout the whole site, which kind of just has that subtle, I guess, style that will make your site just feel a little bit tighter and not distracting to the users that are kind of browsing. Because again, the goal of the site is to have as little friction between the visitor finding what they're looking for and inquiring about it as possible. So anything that would introduce friction there is going to be ill-advised. Let's see. Any other questions before I'm going to jump into some analytics, Megan, but any other questions that have come in so far about the builder?
Yeah, we have a question from Moshkin. Moshkin, can I have a carousel on the homepage?
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't have time to kind of walk through all of the different components, but if you come over here, if you're playing around with it, you can absolutely kind of browse through there. We have a slider right here where you can come in and you can add, under the slides tab, you can add as many slides as you want. You can add images. Each one of these is customizable. So, you can see that we have the slider example text. So let's say we want to edit that. We can come open up the first slide, edit the slide content, and then let's say that we wanted to maybe change the formatting to be on the far right, or let's see if we want to change maybe some column settings here. So now we can see that the slider example is over here on the far right. So again, endless customization in those carousels, and you can absolutely add those carousels to any page. I'll kind of walk through in that vein just a couple other components that we didn't have time to necessarily walk through. We have that, again, that slideshow. If you are interested in that kind of that cool animation, that parallax effect that you've seen on some websites, we have a parallax widget, header text, body text, horizontal rules, buttons, maps, video embeds, media embeds, contact addresses, your hours. Again, these are all kind of configured to the content in your manager account. And we even have a recently viewed widget. So if you have if you have visitors on your site and they're browsing different works, you might have seen this when you're shopping on Amazon or other e-commerce platforms. They'll remind you the works that you were looking at earlier, the items that you were looking at earlier. It's a great way to re-engage people. And again, the point of a great website is to keep people on long enough and help them find the work that they are interested in to the point where they convert to some level of engagement. And so that recently viewed widget is a great way to keep people engaged so that if they find work that they're interested in, you're constantly reminding them of that. So sometimes we'll suggest that you put that in the footer of your website so that on every single page that they visit, at the bottom, they're always going to be looking at works that they had recently browsed. But yeah,
That
poke around with some of these
also,
components and let us know if you have any questions.
so with a video, could you put a video on the page as well?
Yeah, we don't support video hosting, but if you upload your video to YouTube or Vimeo, then you can embed the video into the website. And that's even that should be a preferred vehicle for video distribution, because not your video will then appear on YouTube, so it's searchable there. And in the description of YouTube, you can link back to your website. And one of the greatest and highest leverage things you can do to improve your website's SEO ranking and domain authority is to grow the number of backlinks, the number of websites that link back to specific pages on your site. So not necessarily just your, artiststudio.com domain, but your artiststudio.com / floral work or a specific artworks page. The more detailed you can be in what those backlinks are, and the more relevant that the content that's linking back is relevant to the content that's on that particular page, the more boost you will get from each one of those backlinks. So adding videos to YouTube or Vimeo is a great way, and then linking back and embedding those is a great way to start to kind of boost up your backlinks score and ranking.
Thanks. I think we can move on to analytics now. I think we're about done with our design questions, but if just a note also, if you have any other questions, we do have a YouTube video about artists' websites that we did in office hours last year. So we do have additional information about ArtCloud websites for artists. And then I'll be sending a follow-up email with this recording plus a bunch of information and a link to our knowledge base. So I know that we presented a lot of information really quickly, but we really want to make sure that this information is as valuable as it can be for you in presenting your work. So yeah, if you want to go into website analytics now, that'd be great. Thanks, Alex.
Awesome. So we hear a lot from artists and art businesses that they want great SEO, or they used to have great SEO, or they want to improve their SEO. And that's a really tough place to be when it can be impossible to kind of gauge the progress that you're making. So what we've designed recently is kind of a funnel system of analytical tracking, so you can understand how many people are actually getting to your website and how many people are engaging on your website, and then what of that engagement is actually converted to revenue. So when you look at the kind of the whole picture of your business, you can really start to understand, where am I performing best and where should I put energy for efficiencies? Because what we see over and over is people will put just a tremendous amount of work trying to rank for a particular keyword when no one's actually coming to their website for that, or where they're actually already scored phenomenal for SEO, but they're not converting people, or they're getting a ton of inquiries, but they're not doing a very good job converting those inquiries to sales. And so this analytical dashboard is designed to help you really hone the entire sales funnel of the business and then know where to invest your energy. And so those three different buckets are the awareness bucket. So how many people actually came to your website, saw that content, interacted with that content? The second bucket is the engagement. How many people signed up for an inquiry or signed up for your newsletter, made an inquiry, made an offer, made a purchase? And then of those people that made inquiries, how many people, like how many of the sales did you create that actually came from the website engagement? So from these kind of three containers or three buckets of information, you can really size up your business. And I'll kind of walk through the details of this. This is something that you could pay someone in Google Analytics like tens of thousands of dollars to set up. But since, like Megan said, this is designed specifically for the art world, we know exactly what is most relevant. So we just built that right into the platform so you don't have to go make those gigantic investments with a marketing firm, and you don't have to get technical with all the conversion tracking code. This is all just kind of out of the box, works immediately, starting the day that you launch your website. So going through the awareness bucket here, when you click on the number of visitors that came to your site, we're going to pull up a pie chart that shows how they actually got to your site. So organic video searches, email that brought them there, direct traffic, organic search, referrals. And so this is going to give you a really good sense of what are all the referral sources or avenues of which people are getting to your website. Helps you make more intelligent decisions. If you're running expensive paid social media campaigns, you can start figuring out how effective those are. So if you make a $4,000 investment in Instagram ads, you can get a sense of, okay, I ran that investment. I got this many more people through my site. And based off of these metrics, we can actually determine what your ROI was for that marketing spend. The number of people that convert to some level of engagement, again, we talked about this earlier, but it can feel overwhelming, so I'll say it again. That number over the total number of visitors would give you your conversion rate. What's the number of people how many people that visit your website actually convert to some level of engagement? This is such a critical number to be tracking. You can see when you hover over this, we're going to show you what the industry average is for these types of businesses. So the industry average is a 1.7, and you can see in this test data account, the user has 2.4. So they're doing great. They're beating the industry average, and maybe they decide that they want to grow that next quarter. That's like the company goal. It's like, let's get that up to 3. They can work on a plethora of different tactics to do that. Once you want to drill down, you can drill down into any of these inquiries. You can see what the actual inquiries were, the total dollar amount of all those inquiries, and then you can track of all the inquiries that came in, how many were you able to actually convert to a sale? So this is going to tell you, hey, your website's doing this job. It's converting 2.4% of the visitors into some level of engagement. And then is your studio assistant, are you actually doing the work of converting those inquiries into sales? And so you can see the industry average for inquiry conversion is set almost 18%. So this demo account would have quite a bit more than that. If you're under that, then I need to be working on what I'm sending people, the follow-ups, and we cover all of those tactics in some of the manager training. But those are all that will give you a sense of, far too often we hear people say like, oh, my website's not driving. I didn't sell anything off my website last year. And we can look at this and say, well, actually you generated 1,000 inquiries. You just, it took you 3 days to respond back to them, or you didn't have a clear question in your follow-up reminders, or you forgot to follow up a third time. All those little tactics are going to make a huge impact in the overall conversion and then thus your revenue. Additionally, we'll kind of give you all sorts of, yeah.
Sorry to interject, Alex. I
No
know
problem.
as an art person myself, when I hear all this business language and all this information, it freaks me out a little bit on a personal level. But what's really cool about working in ArtCloud Manager is that we have a smart dashboard that automatically kind of fills you in with tips and things that like if you engaged with someone last year and you haven't engaged with them in a while, we have growing capability that it's basically like your co-pilot or your assistant within the ArtCloud Manager. So before the ROI of it all, the return on investment of it all, trips you up, know that we have sales and marketing tools that are really easy to use and As long as you stay consistent, you know that I mean, that's kind of what life's all about. You really will see a difference. So, sorry, go on.
No, no problem. And the other kind of thing to second that is you don't have to tackle all of this at once. So some people that are in their career and their kind of artistic journey are highly data driven and want to really jump into this on day one. Other people just want to launch a great website that looks beautiful and it's a great way for them to share their work. What's important to know is that if you launch that ArtCloud website, you can grow into this. You can grow into ArtCloud at any given time. Whereas if you launch with Squarespace and then decide you've outgrown that other platform, and you come into ArtCloud, we're not going to have that rich history. So even if you just launch a website and let it live for a year, when you are ready to start looking at analytics, you're going to have a year of data to actually give you something to a fodder to kind of really start browsing, and your analytics are going to make a lot more sense because you'll have trends and seasonality and all those different things. And so I think the most important thing is to realize it is an onion, and you can peel back the layers at your own pace when you're comfortable with it.
I feel like I'm
I'm going
getting
to toggle back.
personal advice at this point. We have one more question, Alex. Can
Yeah, of
we
course.
ask it real quick? We got just a few minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Brian is asking what integrations are available with social media and Instagram and Facebook? Is there any way to automatically add to social media when adding to ArtCloud?
Yes, absolutely. From inside of our cloud manager, you will see that you can, anytime you add new inventory, you can post it directly to social media. So you can post it to Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, or X, all from directly in the platform. Um, so that's it. And on the website, on those inventory detail pages, people can then share those pages, and that's great for backlinks and just further exposure to getting people to your site.
And as a Pro Plus feature, we do have a social media catalog export. So you do have that option if you'd like to sell your inventory items on Facebook and Instagram. If any of y'all have used Meta in this particular way, you know it's a bit tricky, but we try to make it as easy as possible to make that connection.
One other integration I'll point out that's not always so obvious is that if you do have a website with ArtCloud, when you go to send an email campaign, like we have a email campaign builder, much like Mailchimp, all in our platform, a very similar builder interface to our website builder. You can dynamically link all of the artworks back to that inventory detail page. So again, going back to that concept of how much friction are you introducing between your collector and them actually be able to inquire or purchase a work. If you send out an email campaign and each artwork is not linked to that particular detail page for that artwork, then if someone's interested in something, they've now got to screenshot it. Now they got to find your website, then they've got to look for that piece. But if you do have that nice link right there, they click on it once, then they're like second click, they're on the inquire button, third click, they hit inquire. And like, so literally 3 clicks and you now have their email address. You now can work them through your sales process. So just those little tiny integrations will save you a ton of time. You don't have to sanity check all your work. You don't have to proofread, make sure all the links are right. It's just gonna save you time and make everything a little bit cleaner, crisper, and tighter.
Nice. Well, we're coming up on time here. Thank you guys so much for coming today. We really appreciate it. We'll continue to do these webinars and try to support our artists, galleries, and retailers as much as possible. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be with artists and yeah, just have a wonderful day and look out for a follow-up email from me. And thanks again.
Please try things out. Give us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Have
See
a
you
good rest
guys.
of your Thursday. Bye.
Bye.